Hello YouTube, it's G-Man5338, your streetwise professor, your local tattoo artist. Coming to you today from Tested Metal Tattoo Company, my tattoo studio, because I'm going to talk about my digital studio. It's completely paperless, which is a big change from how tattoo studios used to be. So I'm going to talk about the equipment that I have here, that I use, how it's set up. So if you're a tattoo artist or you're interested in tattooing, pay attention. This is going to be an interesting episode. Check it.
Get it into my skin and into my soul. I was born to rock and roll. Fine lines that look so sharp break my skin and break my heart. Hey Andy, what you gonna do? You paint my skin red, white and blue. Come on boys, get yourself tattoos. Hey Andy, what you gonna do? You paint
So when
my
I first
skin red,
opened
white
up
and
my tattoo studio and how tattooing has been for quite a while, stencils are done on a piece of paper like this. It's basically carbon paper, okay? And you can see I've got a stencil drawn off there. And so what you do is you take your piece of paper, you put it over top of this ink sheet, and you trace your outline. And that's how we used to get our stencils. Before that, it used to be a piece of plastic acetate, basically, and the design was etched into the plastic, and you would put like a lead filament or filings kind of onto that acetate, and that's how you would lay the stencil. That's how it was done in the old days. And prison tattooing even has its own way of doing stencils, because obviously they don't have access to this. So in order to get rid of this, because it can take an hour, even more, to draw up a stencil, and you may not be able to draw the stencil up until your client gets there, because sizing and everything else, maybe you didn't get your measurements or whatever. So that can eat up a lot of time. And if you're a tattoo studio like I am, where you get a lot of out-of-town clients, you don't necessarily have that time. Also, I have 3 little minions running around my house. I have 3 Spawn, and anytime I have any sort of artistic stuff out to draw while I'm at home, of course they take it and they either eat it or they wreck it, or they use it to graffiti our walls. So I needed something that was quick, easy, and something that I could kind of keep away from the kids and they wouldn't be too interested in. So the first thing that you're going to need, all right, and this gets kind of expensive. And, you know, tattoos have really increased in price lately. And I think that this is one of the reasons why, because a lot of artists, a lot of studios are like me, and we're switching over to digital stuff. So you need a really good tablet. I've got the latest and greatest iPad here. And I use an iPen. Now, there are 2 different programs you can use here for your art. One is called Procreate, and it's actually published by Apple. And it's a great program, but I believe there's a fee for it. And so what I use is a program called Ibis Paint. This is it here. It's free to an extent. All their brushes and stuff like that, they give you a certain number that are free. Some of them you don't have to pay for, but what you have to do is you have to watch like a 30-second ad. And this can do everything that Procreate does, but does it for free. All right. Now, stylus. You're going to need a stylus. Now, don't cheap out on, you know, just a regular blunt end stylus, okay? Get the iPen. Don't cheap out on it. It's going to show in your work. All right. The iPen is an amazing tool for the iPad to work with. And I do all of my art now through Ibis Paint. And then once that's done, I'll show you how I get my stencil from my iPad. So rather than hand drawing these stencils, what I do is I do the entire art piece on my tablet, and then I get the stencil outline from that drawing. It Takes me no time at all. Now, how I actually get the stencil is I print it off. You can see behind me here, I have an Epson EcoTank printer. Now, these are the only printers on the market that will actually allow you to print stencils like this. And the reason for that is that their tank, the inkwell on it is filled manually. It's not a cartridge that you buy. It's not a tape or a filament. You actually have a container of ink that you use to put in it. But instead of putting regular printer ink in, you can get stencil ink. Okay, this stuff is pretty pricey. A 4-ounce bottle of this is going to cost you 125 Canadian dollars. All right, now 4 ounces is going to last you quite a while. And if you're going this route, if you're actually doing this, what I would suggest you do is you take the ink out of here, the stencil ink out of here, and pour it into a clean Epson ink bottle, because it's much easier to fill the tank on your printer with it. You're not going to make as much of a mess. So once that happens, all I have to do is access the picture on my tablet. I send it to my printer and off it comes. I'll show you in action. Okay, so here is the piece I'm doing on Wednesday, and I want to get the stencil printed up now. So I've got it set up. All I have to do, I've got it pulled up. I just hit the old printeroo button. And there we go. I've got my stencil already done up. Took me 30 seconds to get this printed up, and now I have a working stencil. Also, if I make errors when I lay the stencil, it's much easier for me. All I have to do is just come back, print another one off. I don't have to redraw it, and I don't have to worry about saving the first stencil that I made the mistake with. So for those of you today who it was your first time at Tested Metal, thank you for joining me here. This week, I do have a number of tattoos that I'm going to be dropping, so I'll be filming those, and hopefully Thursday or Friday by the latest, I should have a video up of me actually doing some tattoo work. Maybe you'll get a chance to meet my clients. Next week, we're carrying on. Monday, as usual, we'll have another mental health moment, and I'm not sure what we'll talk about. Maybe next week for fun, we'll talk about some bands or some music or something like that. Anyways, until I talk to you later on this week, and until our mental health moment next week, I want you all to stay up, stay strong, and look out for each other, people, because we're all we got. Peace.
Yo, this one's going out there to all my homies, my natives, my brothers, my family that's supporting me. Those that are overseas, those that are on lockdown, and those that are free.
Gordo. We still living when the loving is gone. Kill, kill was a government song. Sing along, it's just my brothers in arms. Gotta stick together,